firms, national firms, and international firms in the area. What the job of in the insurance industry, that I can take the skills from that industry and apply it to my political career, is that part of the industry is you have to identify risk, and you have to make assessments on what needs to get done and how you're going to transfer risk and handle things, and you have to solve some problems, and you have to put together a plan, because you are protecting people's assets and you're also helping businesses conduct their business and make their profits. So there's a lot of skills involved there, plus dealing with business owners and businesses. I've learned about some of their concerns and some of their issues that I can take with me to St. Paul. And also, as part of the insurance industry, is that you have to build trust with people and you have to work with people. And I've had clients for over 25 years, and we have a wonderful relationship because I know their account, I do the best job I can for them, and they trust my judgment and my recommendations. So I think I have some skills that I can transfer.
Well, I have executive experience in pretty much every field. I've been in government, I've been in business, and I've been in the nonprofit sector. I grew up in a small business, a family business, and I spent time in that. So what I learned there is fiscal discipline, customer service, is work ethic, and caring for your community and your customers, and being responsive to their needs. After our family business, I spent time, I was with Congressman Jim Ramstad as his district director for over 5 years. I spent the full 2 terms with Governor Pawlenty. I was his deputy chief of staff. And then after that, I ran a national nonprofit called Teed Up for the Troops, which raises about $2 million a year for wounded veterans and their family. After that, I was the director of business development for a company in Palo Alto. I traveled from here, so I have tech experience. And then about 1.5 years ago, I started my own business, which is strategic consulting. And through all that, I've got a long history of working with diverse groups, always being a bridge builder, somebody who builds partnerships, but is also working always towards success. And so that's my reputation over 25 years in business and my career, in both in my personal life and serving the community. And I believe that all that experience, both government, in business, and in nonprofit sector, fits perfectly in what we're trying to do at the state legislature.
Thank you. Ms. Calvert.
So I followed my husband's career in emergency management and wildland firefighting all over the country, and I had to be resourceful. So I became a violin teacher in rural Indiana, rural Michigan, and here. And in Michigan, my students had to pay me in eggs. They were they were very underprivileged children, and so I co-founded a nonprofit with my music partner, and we wrote grants to make sure that the kids in that community had access to music enrichment. I moved here, and I was still a violin teacher, and through Twisted Fate, I was paid staff on several statewide campaigns where I learned about so many issues, customer service, and our state and the needs of our people. And one of the people that I worked for was Senator Steve Kelly, who was chair of the Senate Education Committee at the time. I also, through my work ethic, which is extremely strong, I ended up working as Senator Klobuchar's state scheduler, where I saw public service in action at the highest level, best customer service, most responsiveness, work ethic beyond compare from the senator and her staff. And then I worked as the executive assistant to the president, dean, and board of trustees, where I saw nonpartisan cooperation deal with very difficult problems in higher education with student debt load, lower enrollment, tuition deficits, and how to wrap our minds around that. So, and I'm a very mission-oriented, very people-centered person, so I just feel like I'm bringing a whole wealth of life experience coming from all over the country, working with many different leaders learning communication. So that's what I'll bring as an effective legislator.
All right, thank you. So we'll start with Ms. Meyer on this one. Would you send your children, or do you send your children to public schools? No. Unless we're
I
short
have a
one
name. Thank you. To answer that question, yes, I would send children to public schools. I personally, growing up a long time ago in Syracuse, New York, went through the public school system there. And my husband had 2 children, and both of them went through the public school system. I have been a supporter, I'm in the Wayzata School District, and I have been a supporter of the Wayzata schools, and even with some of our big levies and things, building the beautiful school that they have, I've supported that because I believe in education, and this may sound a little selfish, but as you get older, you want to make sure that you've got doctors, attorneys, lawyers, plumbers, everybody that is smart and has had a good education. So definitely, I think the public school system.
My 2 daughters have gone to Heritage Christian Academy for elementary school, K through 5. I've got a daughter in 7th grade at Wayzata West Middle School, and my daughter who's in 5th grade will be going to Wayzata West next year. So I'm a product of the public schools. We moved into our house so the girls could go to Wayzata schools when they hit 6th grade.
I'm a product of public schools. My children went to Hopkins Public Schools and graduated from Hopkins Public Schools. And yes, I'm a huge fan of our public education system.
And we know you.
But you can say it again.
That's right. I am a lifelong Hopkins Royal. That I'm proud to be, and this is my favorite event to do because I see so many familiar faces that I grew up with, that were teachers of mine, or parents, friends in the Hopkins public school community. And frankly, that's what makes our community such a desirable place to live. It's the Hopkins Public Schools, Wayzata Public Schools, Minnetonka. That's why people want to live in the western suburbs. It's because we have phenomenal public schools. And again, if my wife and I are fortunate enough to have children, that's where they'll be going, to our public schools that have produced a very smart lawyer like me. that has been brought up to represent my hometown community. So I am a huge champion for public schools and will always be supporting our public educational system.
We'll start with Mr. Anderson on this. Would you support private school vouchers? Please explain.
Well, I would support choice. This is not something that's going to be accepted by this current administration. What I do advocate for, and again going back to the early childhood, is choice or tax credits for those low-income families or disadvantaged that truly have no other choice. We don't have that situation here in Hopkins or in Wayzata or in Armstrong or in this immediate Senate district, but there are schools that are struggling to truly help those students that need it most. And so for me, I do believe we need to look at opportunities, whether it's tax credits or other opportunities, so those kids can get to the schools that will help them succeed long term.
I would not support vouchers for private schools. Private schools have no requirements for testing or teacher licensure. They don't have to accept all students, but they'd be more than happy to accept our hard-earned tax dollars at private institution. And public schools, studies show, do a better job than private schools at educating all students, not just at-risk students. And as far as choice or tax credits, asking families who are already struggling to pay bills to pay for private schools to get a $2,000 tax credit at the end later is not really a useful choice for many of those families, no matter how well intentioned.
I would not support private school vouchers because I believe that the existence of them leads to the weakening of our public school system, and I cannot support something that I believe weakens a fundamental part of our community, of our government's purpose, and of our state. So no, I cannot support that.
Ms. Meyer?
Well, I support school choice if a family wants to make that decision. And I think it's up to the family, the parents, to have the discussion that where they want their children to go to school. I support the scholarship program for the early learning to start the kids out with pre-K. I'm not in favor of doing it within the school system. I'd rather see it at the places like you went to today and other companies that deal in early childhood education. And I support a scholarship for them. And I support, I'm kind of an advocate. I've been doing some reading on the charter schools, and I kind of would like to see more of an emphasis on getting more children into that kind of environment.
Ms. Calvert? Should personnel employed by schools have the option to carry a firearm?
That would be a no. To me, that is, I just, I think, first of all, that teachers and school support staff have enough on their plate without worrying who in the building is carrying a firearm.